Yo, what's up GameLeapers? Coach Jizz back at it, and in today's video we're going to be revealing the 20 best champions for patch 11.4, which is under a week away. So almost all of the changes have been released, so if you want to know which champions you should start learning and playing for freelo in the near future, then the next 10 minutes are for you. I also want to know who you think is going to be the most broken champion in 11.4, so make sure to let me know in the comments. Now if you want to maximize that climb of yours this season, then make sure you head on over to the GameLeap website. You see, we actually have original challenger up-to-date content released daily that isn't just recycled from YouTube like some other sites. So yeah, get signed up. Links as always in the description and comment section. Alright, let's get into it, and starting off the countdown is an AD assassin who is receiving some big buffs in 11.4. And no, it's not Kha'Zix, surprisingly, it's TALON. Now as you can see, Ryder reducing your W's cooldown and increasing the damage in the first part of your rake. This gives you the wave clear you desperately need at the moment, which means you have more time to roam with your Prowler's Claw and one-shot everyone. Now in this patch right now in 11.3, in high elo, TALON has close to a 56% win rate, and that's without this W change. So if you want a 1v9ing AD assassin to play mid, look no further than TALON in 11.4. Now ahead of TALON, coming in at number 19 is one of the few junglers on this list who will still be able to hard carry on the Rift in 11.4. You see, the jungler is getting nerfed, guys, so less gold and experience for the minor camps, which means that anyone who can't clear these camps quick enough falls even further behind. Well, if you play HECARM, your problems are solved. You are one of the fastest clearing junglers in the game, and unlike other bruisers like Kayn and Olaf who got hit hard by the Gore Drinker nerfs last patch, your spike with Trinity Force is still legit. On top of that, in 11.4 guys, mages are going to be everywhere because of all the item buffs, and typically the mage class's biggest weakness is a lack of mobility. As HECARM, you can take advantage of this because that's your biggest strength. It's almost impossible for a mage to get rid of you. I mean, in lower elos as well, HECARM is especially hard to deal with because minimaps don't exist, so if you're looking for a jungler to play next patch, not many better than HECARM. Right now, where's LS when you need him? Because this next champion is one he always tells people to play, and next patch there is even more reason to do so. Now if you want to carry with one of the scariest level 6s in the game, then Annie in 11.4 is a great choice. Now the Cosmic Drive buff doesn't really do much for Annie because you're after damage more than anything, which is why she's a little lower on our countdown, but the more AP and Morellos, very nice, and as I said with HECARM, the more mages the better. For anyone playing in a mobile AP damage dealer, you are one of the scariest sights on the Rift, even though you might be as short as Tyler 1. Now the threat you pose with the movement speed from Luden's Tempest and Flash holding, you can't get much deadlier. Now moving on to number 17 guys, we have another mid laner who will continue to cause chaos in 11.4. So if you're after an AP assassin who has as good a chance as anyone to put their team on their back, then choose FIZZ. Now like Annie, it will be hard to make full use of the Cosmic Drive buffs just because your core items, Lichbane and Zhonya's Hourglass, are too core to give up, and you'll have your mythic item as well. But the Morello's buff is good of course, and like Annie, you are one of the hardest champions to survive against if you're on a mobile mage. So think of a Nivea or VIKTOR. If you kill them once, that turns into 10 kills real quick. Also, with every ADC building damage at the moment and rarely having time to build a Hexstreaker or QSS, you don't even need your ultimate to nuke them. So 11.4 FIZZ looking almost as strong as ever. Now who would have guessed that we have another mage coming in at number 16, and this purple press R and win champion has been very strong for multiple patches now. This is none other than MALZAHAR, and if you want to put a stop to every YASUO, YONE, Zed, Akali, Katarina player, I mean who doesn't, there's no one better. Not only do you deal an insane amount of damage with Liandry's and your own tick damage, you're extremely hard to kill because of your built-in spell shield. Now some matchups are hard for sure, Syndra, Seraph, even Nocturne, but the great thing about Malz is the consistency factor. It's very hard to have a bad game, right? And you're always going to be useful even if you're behind. So if you want to counter to all those popular assassins and a risk-free mid laner, Malz is your go-to. Alright, moving on to number 15 on our countdown guys, and it's time for an AD carry. Now if you're after a marksman who can win teamfights with the press of a button, Misfortune is the MALZAHAR of ADCs. Just press R and you W. Now the great thing about MF is the range you have in teamfights because of your ultimate and the damage you can deal during the laning phase via your Q. Think of all the popular supports at the moment too. You've got Leona, you've got Thresh, you've got Alistar. Pair one of these meatheads with MF, the most oppressive combos going around. And also the fact that ranged champions don't really exist in low elo makes MF an even better pick because the entire enemy team will be face tanking your bullet time. Great in lane, great team fighting, just make sure you're not the one headbutting. Okay, this next champion is the first on our countdown who can really make use of the massive Cosmic Drive buffs just around the corner. Now what's funny is that NEEKO is already strong, be it as a mid laner or as a support, but mid NEEKO in particular will be off chops next patch. You see, when you have your Hextech Rocket Belt and Cosmic Drive, you get access to the permanent movement speed and the 40 ability haste the new drive offers, when you have 160 AP. Now this is nuts on NEEKO because movement speed is important for engaging, disengaging, even kiting with your spells, and the ability haste, well, this is one of the best stats for you because throwing out multiple Qs and Es during a teamfight is your dream. So yeah, plenty of wet ones coming in 11-4. Alright, just out of NEEKO, guys, we have another mage, Kelsapri, who will be frothing the new Cosmic Drive buffs, and that's VIKTOR. Now same as NEEKO, the movement speed and 40 ability haste after your mythic and Cosmic Drive is unreal. But you might argue, but VIKTOR has enough movement speed from his Q and Ludens. Isn't this just overkill? Well, the movement speed is nice, but the real attraction is the ability haste. You see, you can't one-shot anyone as VIKTOR anymore because of the nerfs since the pre-season, so you need another round of abilities to make up for it. And this is where the haste is crucial. Being able to throw out multiple death rays during a fight is where it's at, and that's why 11-4 VIKTOR is number 13 on our countdown. Now moving on to number 12, and we have our second ADC. Now if Misfortune doesn't quite cut it, I've got another collector abuser who hits like a truck with his abilities. This is of course JHIN, who has been one of the best marksmen in the game for ages. Now in 11-4 guys, nothing is going to change that fact. None of your items are getting nerfed, JHIN himself isn't on the chopping block, so your power is all still there. Now with Dark Harvest and all your innate damage, you are one of the hardest hitting AD carries going around, and wins will still be easy to come by next patch. Now this might be hard to believe, but coming in at number 11 is the best top laner for 11-4. You see, after the nerfs to bruisers and bruiser items, CHOGATH has proven to be the standout top laner, and like JHIN, nothing is changing that fact in a week's time. The Force of Nature buff, the Frozen Heart buff, the Gargoyle Stoneplate buff, the Frostfire Gauntlet buff, all of your major items were upgraded over the last few patches, and they are staying that way. Now with bruisers weaker, it means your laning phase is a lot easier, so getting to that point where you cover the entire screen is doable in pretty much every game. We're into the top 10 now guys, and remember to let me know your thoughts on the countdown picks in the comments. So kicking off the top 10, we're heading back to the mid lane. Now he's played a lot and will continue to be played in 11-4 because of the shield bow buffs from 11-3 and they're staying. You see, Yasuo might not have the highest win rate, but if you can master him, you have a good a chance as anyone else at winning. The main reason is that you only need 2 crit items to reach 100% crit now, and once you have shield bow and a bloodthirster, you are close to unkillable. Let's remind ourselves that mages are going to be more popular, and Yasuo loves playing against champions like Syndra and Vel'Koz because he can make great use of his mobility, and his wind wall is one hell of a cuck too. Alright, up next we have another mage who, despite getting nerfed in 11-3, is still arguably the strongest mid laner, and this will continue to be the case in 11-4. So Anivia is still going to be broken, and what's interesting next patch are the buffs to Everfrost. You see, into Assassins, Everfrost is an ideal mythic, and it now builds out of Kindle Gem, so you get some health and early ability haste. The cast time for the active is also quicker and deals more damage, so you have another option to crush the opposition with. You are guaranteed to keep popping off in 11-4 in Anivia guys, so keep playing her. Now ahead of the Cryo Phoenix, I'm going to sound like a broken record, we have another mage. It's Mage City, and this time it's the second best mid laner from 11-3. Now the reason Diana has gone down just a little bit is because there are a few other mid laners that are benefiting more from the 11-4 buffs. But still, with no one building magic resist these days, most fights being a war of who has the thicker head, you know, because everyone turns into a melee champion, and your one-shot potential and burst with your ultimate, it's still huge. So if the enemy AD carry isn't getting any peel, and they won't, you can kill them by just Eing and R'ing. Just make sure to ban Aurelia and you will pop off. Now coming in at number 7 is time to head back to the bot lane, and this one might surprise some of you because she's only made a lot of noise recently, and that's Senna. Well, in 11-4, you will be making more noise because Ginsu's Rage Blade is giving 5% more attack speed for the same gold, and Mortal Reminder is giving 5 more AD. Now for on-hit Senna, this is unreal. Also remember the 11-2 buffs. They gave you more attack speed, more gold from your miss rays, some more healing and damage in your Q that also counts as a Kraken Slayer stack. So if you build Kraken Slayer as your mythic, followed by Ginsu's and Rapid Fire Cannon, you are incredibly hard to play against. As you collect miss rays, remember your range gets bigger and bigger, and with Glacial and the DPS, you are unstoppable. Now another champion that's going to continue being unstoppable next patch is the second best jungler, and that's UDYR. Now there's a reason why UDYR is banned in over 50% of games in higher elos. That's right, 50%. Why do you guys think? Oh, is it because he's busted? That's it. Turbo Chem Tank UDYR has been causing havoc in every elo and has one of the highest win rates in the game. The jungle changes mean he is even more valued because of his clear speed, and there are no item nerfs. So yeah, Chem Tank, Deadman's, Force of Nature, Steel Caps or Mercury Treads, keep building the same and you will keep on winning. Now we're into the top 5 champions of 11.4, guys, and before we reveal these juggernauts, one last friendly reminder to check out the GameLeap website. If you are serious about improving, about getting as much as you can out of League of Legends, then join thousands of your fellow summoners and click on the links down below. Okay, so coming in at number 5 is a champion you might not expect because of the Moonstone Renewer nerfs, but I'm talking about mid-Seraphine, and to be more specific, Liandry's Anguish and Cosmic Drive Seraphine. Now this probably sounds whack, but trust in the jizz. This is beyond broken. The ability haste you get from Liandry's, Lucidity Boots, and then Cosmic Drive is 85. 85 ability haste. That's the same as 46% cooldown reduction. So you will be spamming your spells left, right, and center, and as a spellcaster, this is a massive buff to this playstyle. Moonstone Renewer Seraphine will still be good, but if you care about winning, this is the way to play her. Now, next up at number 4, we have the best AD carry for 11.4, and like Senna, she is benefiting from the Ginsu's buff and will be 3-hitting champions more often than ever. Now, most VAYNE players are building Kraken Slayer into PD, into Infinity Edge. Well, in 11.4, give this a try. Kraken Slayer for the synergy with your Silver Bolts, Phantom Dancer for the kiting and crit, and then Ginsu's for the on-hit and attack speed. This makes you the strongest jeweler in the game because of all your attack speed, the damage, and the mobility. And in a meta where AD carries need their own survivability, and not just a support who can peel them, VAYNE is top of the list. Alright, the top 3 guys, and starting it off is a champion who's been the best mid laner for the last few patches, and in 11.4 he is the second best. So yeah, still broken. Like YASUO, YONE has gone from a 45% win rate before season 11 started to over a 50% right now. Now granted, there are still players trying to learn him and going 0-10, but like his half-brother, if you learn the tricks of the wind and swordplay, you could still say YONE is the strongest champion in League. The 11.3 buffs to shield bow and your scaling is staying for 11.4, as is your place among the best champions on the Rift. Okay, the runner-up to the best champion in the game in 11.4 is an AP jungler who got buffed in 11.3 and will take advantage of the Cosmic Drive buffs as well as anyone. Guys, SHYANA in a week's time is going to be a pick or ban, Giga OP, turbo broken. Now, she is already a great AFK farmer, and like UDYR and HECARM, this is even more important when the jungle changes hit, and she is already a great scaler. With Cosmic Drive buffed as well with Night Harvester, which gives you ability haste for each legendary item, similar to Seraphine, you can have 80 ability haste after 3 items, 80. The movement speed as well as a luxury, and the health is also a really underrated stat. So if you're jungling in 11.4, guys, SHYANA is the bee's knees. Okay, now to find out who the best champion is in 11.4, you guys can either cheat by looking in the comments for timestamps, or you can play a game of Who Am I with your favorite coach. My village was consumed by the void, and I am after vengeance. Well, I will get a ton of it in 11.4 because Everfrost is buffed, and I can also make use of the Cosmic Drive buffs. As long as my jungler gives me blue buff, that's a lot of buffs, I'm going to reign supreme. Guys, the number 1, the best champion in 11.4 is KASSADIN. And yeah, the Everfrost changes, the rise in mages being played who you hard counter, you are going to have a field day. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to let the crew know by leaving a like. Also remember to subscribe and turn on all notifications. This has been Coach JHIN until tomorrow's upload. Peace.